In episode number 311 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, we cover Tom Hardy's 3-film Venom contract.
We also go over the DC Daily live stream and all of the questions that they finally answered about Warner Brothers' streaming service.
Segment you won't want to miss is What's New on Netflix for September. We have our picks, the things that you should be watching.
And we do have a comic book review this week with Lex Luthor Porky Pig #1, the latest Looney Tunes DC crossover kickoff for the week.
All of this and so much more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the 2018 Games and Hobbies Podcast Award nominated The Reasons I'm Broke podcast.
That's right.
Bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I am your Emperor Palp Kelli.
And I am Darth Vader.
And for those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome. The way we format the show is first we start out with some news, then we go into our Brocat block where you find out a little more about our lives and our weeks. We have our Patreon shoutouts, and then we wrap it up with a comic book highlight of the week.
Kicking things off with the remains of the mess that was left by pedo perv James Gunn. It continues. It continues, and I'm loving it. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Disney has delayed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 indefinitely. Last week we had said that they were possibly going to find another director. Feige was going to go find another director. But instead, it seems like maybe there was more going on behind the scenes.
Disney actually dismissed the cast, said, go ahead, find other work. You're not tied into this film right now.
Production was originally set to begin this winter, and it sounds like to me that more people outside of Bautista were being giant babies about just filming Volume 3, working with the new director, and they were still going to use the script. And instead, Disney either was facing, okay, we can sue all of these actors, or we can say, you know what, we're just not doing it then. And it sounds like that's what they did instead.
I don't know that it's people were being giant babies. What I kind of see it as, so didn't one of Pedo Perv's friends just get caught for actually being a pedo perv?
Yeah.
So that's even more limelight on him saying, you might actually be a pedo perv.
But he's already gone, though. That's the thing. James Gunn is already off the project. He's not coming back. This is a family company, and you don't associate yourself with someone like that.
Of course, but even still to use the script of a pedo perv.
I see what you're saying, maybe. I think that the general audience, though, probably would have been generally fine with, they used the pedo perv's script. It's not like sales have suddenly stopped on Guardians 1 and 2, like the DVDs or Blu-rays or any of that. I think it would have been okay. They would have found a new director. It could also be that maybe there were no plans to have anyone backed up as a director, and they felt like they didn't want to rush into production. Right. With that being said, I don't see them ever not making a Volume 3. The first two were very profitable. It makes sense for Disney to make a third one. But it could take much longer than expected now, as opposed to when they originally wanted to, which I believe was 2020 or late next year, but I'm guessing 2020.
The Guardians are going to show up in every other Marvel movie, so what's it really matter?
They'll be the new fucking Tony Stark.
Oh my god, they're going to be in everything.
They'll be in all the posters, getting some work. That's their other work they're going to be finding.
In other posters.
But people are getting mad at other people that were accusing James Gunn to the people that broke this news story. James Gunn did this to himself. Yes. This is all still because of Jimmy Gunn. It is all his fault.
It's definitely his fault. If you're getting mad that people exposed his pedo pervness, you should be mad at yourself.
I really got into it with someone on Twitter too, last week. It was a whole thread. Scott from Lazy Gaming Guys saw the glory that it was. I compared him to one of those clown boppers that you punch and they just keep coming back in spite of all the haymakers that you throw at them, and they don't damage you back, but fucking took some abuse and kept coming back for it. I'm like, all right, let's keep doing this.
Those are the things that you enjoy. That's why you enjoy the internet.
It was a lot of fun. Was I trolling? Maybe. Do I really care that much about James Gunn being a pedo perv? As long as he stays away from my kid, I'm all right. But this is so delicious and fun right now. Especially when the MCU sheep make it even more, like they add that bit of seasoning on top.
He's okay.
The bloggers told us that he's fine. Whatever they tell you to think, guys. Whatever they tell you to think.
Leave James Gunn alone.
Oh, man. We have another company, another Marvel movie. Not from Marvel Studios, though. But it does feature the actor that got us all in on Sony's Venom film. As soon as they cast him, we were like, fuck yes, we were wrong. Sony is right on making a Venom film. I always thought he's a character that who cares? He should never have his own movie until Tom joined the project.
You missed a perfect opportunity there for our new tagline.
What's the new tagline?
All in on Venom.
That's not bad.
Because
not
it
bad.
fucking rhymes. But then you added extra words in there and the moment
Let me
was
ask
lost.
you something. Did you know that there's a comic that actually released Wednesday called Web of Venom, and it takes place in Vietnam?
Oh, shit.
Did you know that?
Good on whoever did that.
Did you know about that
No,
comic?
I did not
okay,
know
that's
about it.
that's really interesting because that was a crazy coincidence then.
Whoa, I'm just that smart.
All in on Venom, right?
Yes,
is what you said?
because then it rhymes.
I think that's the title of today's episode.
All in on Venom. See, how, after all these years, have you not realized how amazing your wife is?
I've realized. I know these things.
Apparently not, because I keep surprising you. It shouldn't even surprise you. You should just be like, yes, my wife.
But the thing is, your amazingness is unique every time. That's why it stays amazing. That's why I continue to stay surprised.
All right. Somebody doesn't want to sleep on the couch tonight.
It's like the episode of Star Trek with Picard. I don't know if you remember, but when his wife, it's in the Inner Light, when his wife is passing away, and he rushes to the house to be by her bedside. And he says, even still, you find ways to get my attention. Like all of these things. It's so fucking good. And then she tells him to make sure to straighten his shoes. Because she always had to straighten his shoes. Even when he's old and he's an old man, she's still straightening out his shoes. Like he never learned how to do that. And it's all like, well, who's going to straighten Picard's shoes now?
Who will straighten your shoes when I'm gone?
Not Leo. He fucking throws that shit. He separates them.
And
he
he
throws
goes,
them all over the place.
and
Likes to play with shoes.
Likes to
One
play
of the
with
filthiest
everything.
things you can have in the house.
Right? And you just let him. You didn't even stop him.
Because you said that it's important for him to not be too clean. Like he's developing those defenses, not when you're an adult, like Riggs' logic.
Correct. Good. I'm proud of you, Daddy Man.
Let's go back to Venom, though. What
Yes,
we're
'cause we're
excited
all
for.
in.
We're Venom, absolutely. So we have a quote here from Tom Hardy after he has confirmed to sign on for 3 Venom films, including the one that's coming out this year with Sony Pictures.
Quote, I'm open to whatever you want to do with it. We've signed up for 3 of them, so it's very much an open case. We'll see what people's responses are to it. I think it's an awesome character. I love playing both of them. We all prepped for it to be a standalone universe, so whatever Sony wants to attach to it a later day, it's a fulcrum piece. End quote.
That tells me Carnage is going to be in number 2. The other symbiotes at some point are going to be in there. Maybe Toxin.
Who?
He is the
You're
child.
Toxin, I'm slipping under.
He is basically I'm trying to remember. I believe he is the child of Carnage and Venom. The symbiotes, like they have a child together.
Oh.
I believe that's what it is. Even though I think also Carnage is an offspring of Venom, but they're aliens. It's not humans. It's fine. It's not incest.
So we're not going to get a love scene between Tom Hardy and whoever plays Carnage?
Maybe not, but you know what? I'll be there for it too. I'll be like, yes, we're getting Toxin. I would just be in the film like, we're getting Toxin, everyone. And like the other Venom, like familiar guy would be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. I read Toxin. It was all right. It was about a cop that gets that Toxin symbiote, and he does very similar things to Venom. It was a more interesting story than Eddie Brock's. And eventually his family leaves him, and he has to leave his family, and it's a whole thing, and he runs off, and that's it. It's just one of many symbiotes that they can use in these next 2 Venom films. And I think number 2 is definitely going to be Carnage.
Now I'm stuck on a Tom Hardy love scene with whoever plays Carnage.
And if there is one, he has no problem having his dick out, as we've seen with Bronson. He will be naked, running around, and Eddie
Dingle
Brock...
just flapping
Dingle
everywhere.
flapping around. He fought many guys. I don't know if you remember that Bronson scene.
You showed me that scene. That was the only scene I saw. You're like, Kelly, come look at Tom Hardy's dick flying around. And I'm like, all right.
It was fucking hilarious. Like, he's just bald and running around, and he's fighting these guards, and I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking... You don't see that often. Like, the last time I saw that in a movie, it was in Watchmen. And that was, I think, a digitized dick. I know they used a model for it, and then they kind of animated it from there, but for Tom Hardy to just run around like that,
do you think,
it
was that
fucking
really
funny.
Tom Hardy's?
That was actually Tom Hardy,
Did you, like, get close and analyze it? Like,
It was an independent film, and they all talked about how he went all in. He's a pseudo-method actor on top of that, so...
He was in the streets naked fighting people for weeks before that scene.
Possibly. If it were Heath Ledger, absolutely. If it were Christian Bale, yes. Also, who was the other one? I think who played the Joker in Suicide Squad?
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto is another method actor.
Yeah.
He went to prisons and got familiar with a lot of like the Mexican gangsters before he played the Joker in Suicide Squad.
Interesting. I was trying to think of what he did that was memorable as the Joker to be like, oh, he did that, but I couldn't think of anything.
Are we in for 2 and 3, Papa Kelly? Or are you on this journey with me?
If Tom Hardy is there, of course we're in. We're all in on Venom.
You don't care who he fights, do you?
No, I don't care who they show up, because here's the thing. I don't really care about the character of Venom. I don't really care about any of the characters in Venom's world, but I care about Tom Hardy.
That was the key to Sony's success on these.
Yeah.
And they locked them right down. I know one of the things that a lot of people say is, well, number one hasn't come out yet. How do we know it's going to be a hit or not? Well, as we saw with Fantastic Four, they can cancel them at any time because there was already a sequel that was greenlit for that one. But I think Venom, especially with what they're showing with the trailers, it looks like Venom. It looks like what the fans would want. And to me, I want Tom Hardy, so it kind of satisfies both sides. It'll be a hit. It's going to make money.
I think we're definitely going to get a second one. I think the third is kind of going to be a toss-up, but for sure the first one's going to do really well. We're going to get a second one.
We're going to get a second one if it's Carnage. Because then the Carnage fans are a whole nother base on top of that. And they're coming in to see Venom just to see if Carnage makes a cameo or some kind of appearance in this. And when they market Carnage in the second one, that's going to be another guaranteed success for Venom 2. 3, there probably won't be a 4, because where do you go from there? Toxin? Who knows? But that's great news, I think, for Venom fans and for Tom Hardy fans too.
The first Venom is set to release October 9th, 2019, so just a little over a year away.
No. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. No, you're looking at the Joker.
Oh shit!
It's this year.
October 5th.
We're in October 5th this year.
Oh man, done.
I was about to say, why are we getting so many trailers and it's over a year away?
Sorry, my phone likes to skip places, and I just whatever phone, do what you want. It's the baby spit.
The baby went ahead, the phone went ahead and transitioned this next story, so might as well talk about it.
So Venom is coming out October 5th, but a year after that, guys. Ooh.
There you go. Sloppy, but it got the job done.
Actor Joaquin Phoenix recently told IndieWire his thoughts on fan reactions to his upcoming role as the Joker in the Solo film.
What are the fan reactions right now? I don't know why they say fan reactions, because this is not DC fan reactions. These are the MCU shit.
Why are there standalone Joker movies?
That's exactly what they're saying. Why does it not connect to the other universe? How are they making a whole movie on the Joker? It's like, are you guys looking at the fucking pieces behind the Joker film? Are you looking at the producer? Are you looking at Scorsese's one of your favorites?
Love Scorsese.
You have Joaquin Phoenix on top of that. It's a standalone story. They keep saying that they need to focus on each movie. They're doing that with an out-of-continuity story. It's set in the 80s. It's a gangster film. It's one of the many origins that they could have gone with on the Joker. And on top of that, it's not tied in to anything else.
Right.
It's got the recipe of, like, this is going to be quality-wise. It's got the right pieces, right?
Absolutely.
It's not universe building, and it's not Marvel, so it has to be criticized. So what did Joaquin Phoenix said? Quote, I could care less. By the way, that's a pet peeve of mine. I couldn't care less. Always. I couldn't care less. And I hear that in a lot of podcasts.
You know what he should have said?
Who cares? We'll insert that instead.
Okay.
Quote, who cares? I don't really think that much about what people think. Actually, he does say, who cares? Who cares? My approach to every movie is the same. What I'm interested in is the filmmaker and the idea of the character, end quote. a true artist. And I think many actors think the same way as they take on these roles. None of them are going, well, what are fans thinking? If that were the case, then Batfleck never would have showed up on set.
Right.
Same with Gal Gadot when she was criticized for not being muscly enough and shaving her armpits in the Wonder Woman movie. That's how I think a lot of actors are getting the paycheck. They believe in the work. Otherwise, they wouldn't have signed on.
Well,
and that's
most
it.
of them wouldn't have
Big
signed
names
on.
like this, though.
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix can choose his projects.
Right. And Joaquin's always struck me as someone who puts his all into these characters. So, of course, he's kind of like Daniel Day-Lewis, who only picks scripts that speak to him.
That's right. Joker is set to release on October 9th, 2019.
Little over a year after the Venom movie comes out on October 5th.
Another villain that is getting his own solo film is Black Adam. The
Yes!
Rock's Black Adam. I'm sorry, Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam. According to the producer, Hiram Garcia, the movie is, quote, definitely happening, end quote, as it now has a completed script.
We do have a quote here from Garcia to Collider, which reads, quote, "We're extremely excited about it. The studio's very excited about it. And I'm telling you, man, as a comic book fan, when this thing comes out, it is going to be amazing. Ha 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 ha."
he laughed in quotes.
This is the fanboy in me talking to you. It's going to deliver on the goods of everything you've wanted to see Black Adam do, and he's going to be doing in this film. End quote.
And a lot of fans have been wondering why Black Adam did not show up in Shazam as the main antagonist, and Garcia responded with, quote, "So as we were developing an actual Black Adam and Shazam movie, we were just realizing that both characters are so special that we didn't want to compromise either of them by cramming them both into the same movie. So that's why we made the decision to let Shazam have his own standalone movie and kind of launch him properly, and then we'll do the same for Black Adam. And so that kind of really freed things up. It allowed us to develop the right version of both," end quote.
I think that's part of the reason.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
What are you thinking? And I'll tell you if that's what I'm thinking.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is such a big name, you don't have him as a villain in a movie. You give him his own fucking movie because it has the possibility of making even more money than Shazam will, based on the fact that Dwayne is the star of that movie.
I wasn't thinking so far Dwayne, but I did hear cha-ching, cha-ching.
Close enough.
Money.
Same bottom
Money.
line.
But yes, exactly. However, I would like to point out that I think that when there's finally a movie where they come together, it will be even more impactful because, of course, in the Black Adam movie, you're going to have people feeling for Black Adam. Because he's the star of the movie. Obviously, you can't hate the star of the movie. I don't know. Maybe you can.
That's also in his character of standing up for his people and his kingdom.
Of course, but he's still seen as a villain, right? So we're going to have this Shazam movie, and we're all going to be like, yeah, Shazam. And then you're going to have this Black Adam movie, and we're all going to be like, yeah, Black Adam. And then they're going to fight, and you're going to be like, I don't know who I'm rooting for.
Stop fighting.
No.
Team up and fight, insert villain here. We'll find out.
Carnage or Toxic or whatever his name was. Anyway, brilliant. I'm hoping that they do fantastic things with this Black Adam movie because, of course, we like the villains most when you feel for them, like Sinestro and Black Adam.
Who teamed up in Forever Evil.
And Toxic. Do we feel for him?
Sort of. He's not a great character, just like the rest of the...
Riku, I feel bad for Riku.
There you go.
There we go.
They can fight Riku.
Vegeta, I feel bad for Vegeta.
They can fight Vegeta.
Oh man, I would love for them to fight Vegeta. Can you just imagine it?
It would be the same result though. We'd be like, stop fighting, you three.
I'd be like, win, Vegeta, win! It would be perfect.
No release date has been given for Black Adam. I'm thinking 2020.
Probably, because we're going to see Shazam first, and then there'll probably be, like, a nod to Black Adam at the end of Shazam, and you'll be like, woo, Black Adam! And then it's like, go see Black Adam's movie on this day. I don't know why Venom jumped out to say that, but he did. That's my Venom voice.
Because they're crossing over with Carnage.
And Toxic. Played by Britney Spears.
Something, oh my god, yes. 2018, why can't Carnage be a girl? 2018. Britney Spears, perfect. Not Carnage, Toxin, sorry. And Toxin's such a small character anyway. I doubt many will care.
If Toxin shows up, it's going to be a woman. I'm calling it right now with my palpiness. Don't even try. 3 years from now, you're all going to be saying, why is Papa Kelli so smart? Because I know everything.
Something we stayed up for this week was the Warner Brothers live stream of DC Daily as hosted by Kevin Smith and the rest of the DC Daily hosts. The big thing was, and they kicked it off right away on the live stream, is that the release date for DC Universe, the launch of this streaming app, is going to land on appropriately Batman Day, which is September 15th. Why not launch it on Batman Day? Because 99% of the people, if they're smart, are going to be tuning into this just to play Batman the Animated Series.
Of course.
Even if they have the DVDs, they're going to watch Batman the Animated Series.
Duh. So I know you really wanted this, and a lot of people wanted this to release during the live stream.
Yep.
For them to be like, surprise, here you go. But it's so smart to release it on Batman Day, because then you make it like a huge thing.
The retailer in me has now, there's a conflict because I don't want people to stay home and watch DC
and just
Daily,
watch this.
Because comic shops have their own Batman Day things happening. There's going to be comic books exclusive to Batman Day, or at least a comic exclusive to Batman Day. And then there's also going to be some comic shops are going to have the cosplayers come out and they're going to make a big thing of it. So if people are staying at home and instead of watching DC Daily, I'm a little bit worried about that.
I don't think they're not going to sit home all day watching DC Daily. They're going to go to work, they're going to get off work, come pick up their comics, and then go watch DC Daily.
You do realize Batman the Animated Series is on DC Universe,
I get
right?
that. So are you saying you're calling into work to stay home and watch DC Universe?
No, because I got to afford DC Universe.
Okay, people are not going to not pick up their comics and just stream Batman. There might be a few people, but not the majority.
We'll find out. We'll see.
All right, you want to take a bet on that?
Nope.
Let's go.
I never take bets with you anymore.
You best not. You know better.
The other question that was answered is, when is Titans actually going to debut on this app? And it will be on October 12th and run weekly from there for 12 total episodes. I'm guessing they're going to be about 45 minutes long.
Mm-hmm. So you won't get them all at once like you do a la Netflix. You're going to get them weekly a la Hulu. They also announced that there will be thousands of digital comics that will be available at launch, and DC Universe can be accessed from 2 devices at the same time to begin with.
Do you think they'll add more? Or do you think they'll cut it down to one?
No, they just said that they would add more.
They said that...
Were you not listening to the stream?
No, what they're saying is not that only 2 devices, not just your PlayStation and your phone. They're saying that out of all of your devices, how many can you have at the same time logged into your account?
Right. And they said at launch, you will have 2. That to me means they will add more as it progresses. Did you not interpret it that way?
Maybe not. No, I didn't interpret it that way, but that makes more sense to me.
At launch, you will have 2.
Right.
And they left it at that.
Okay.
So to me, and granted, I don't know why you would need to watch it for more than 2 devices at the same time.
Well, the reason people ask that is, can I give my login to my family, my parents, my friend, my roommate, my girlfriend, my brother, whatever? That's why people ask that. It's not because they're literally... Well, the other thing, too, is if you have kids, let's say Leonardo's 15 right now.
My heart.
He wants to watch DC Universe on his room, and I want to watch DC Universe.
You mean he wants to watch shady ass emo Titans?
Sure, he wants to watch Titans, and I want to watch Batman the Animated Series. We can watch it in the same household without an issue.
Well, right, but why would you need more than that? Am I going to go watch something else in the other room, and the family just won't communicate?
Again, 2018. The next thing, too, is the... comics. I'm sorry. Did you talk about the digital comics that are available at launch? Okay. And then 2 devices. The pricing on DC Universe is $7.99 per month or $74.99 annually. And that gets you priced out to 3 more extra months on top of the subscription for a year. The digital comics, we definitely just kind of glossed over because we're not digital readers. We prefer having the book in front of us. We prefer turning the pages. And I get it, you can, and Greg Capullo did an amazing job showcasing his own issue number 1, his own artwork on the television. He's like, oh, you can just scroll here. You can go to the next panel here.
Look at my big TV. I have a 50-inch TV. Thanks, Greg Capullo.
So to me, that didn't appeal to
us.
Yeah. So
it's not for us, but like you said, there are digital readers, and to be able to sit on your couch and see it right there, because there is a big digital reading market. And some people, you have your small smartphone, but maybe they don't have a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So now they can see it on their computer instead. And another thing just to throw out there, most of them are number ones. Like they said,
Right.
there's a lot of key issues. So first appearance of Batman, stuff you're never going to find. You're never going to read outside of digitally. But he also said there's all those number ones. So for example, Greg Capullo's number one from that run. This gives people the opportunity now to read those where maybe they wouldn't have and say, you know what, that was really good. Let me go out and find this run.
And that does happen more often than anything. I know a lot of people were wondering many years ago if the digital market was going to kill physical comics, and instead it ended up not affecting them and instead helping the comic market, where people were discovering these issues for the same reason that you mentioned, and then want to read the rest of the story, so they'll pick up the trade, or they'll try to hunt down the original issues, because some of them are at heart collectors.
They also gave us a small preview of Batman the Animated Series all cleaned up and shown through the opening of the show and select clips from episodes.
What'd you think of the sharpness, the color, the HD-ness of Batman?
I was more in awe of Kevin Conroy,
Yeah.
who's still being awesome, talking about his favorite episode.
He's a lot more redhead these days with that hair dye. I don't know where he went with that.
Just leave him alone. Just leave him alone. It looked really nice. That's exactly what we expected. But it's always nice to hear him talk about the behind-the-scenes things, when they recorded it, the first time that they saw it, how it was done on black paper, stuff that you don't see anymore with TV shows. I mean, they aren't drawing on black paper. They're digitizing all the bullshit. So that was really awesome to see.
IGN ended up having an exclusive comparison video of what you saw as a kid and what the cleanup is now. And like they do every fucking time, even when I play the DVD on our HD TV, it never looks as bad
Right.
as the left side. I'm like, it was never that fucking blurry, you fucking liars.
It was on your old-ass tube television.
Sure, fine. And maybe that's the comparison.
Right.
And I understand why they kind of...
They want it to look even better. They want you to be even more excited, which we're already plenty excited.
And I've from the beginning said, you don't even have to clean them up. I'll take this DVD quality on a Blu-ray disc because I want that better format, the longer lasting format. But it is nice to see that they did at least supposedly clean up some of these things. And it did look sharper, and I don't know if that's just because it was translated to HD or if they actually did do some major cleanup on these cells. But the hands, you can see the black lining on the fingers and the arms and the clothing, and that's a lot sharper and clearer than when I watched the animated series on DVD. So at least for that, it does. You can say that it is in HD.
What did you think of DC Daily as a whole, the show? And granted, they ran over time significantly.
They said it was only supposed to be 2.5 hours, and they did go like a little over 3 hours. I did think it was too long. I felt that some of the guests, and I understand they're trying to introduce you to the hosts, I didn't care. I'm going to try to watch some DC Daily. I'll watch a couple. But they said these are all the hosts, because every weekday they're going to have an all-new show, or I don't know how long it's going to be, but they'll highlight a new book, a statue, a figurine. And this is what I said on Twitter, that this is good because that highlights that product for comic shops. But I don't know if the hosts are going to be that interesting, especially from what I saw here. And I felt that they spent way too much time just dicking around with John Barrowman and the rest of them and just sitting on the couch talking. And because it is Kevin Smith, who loves to just talk and talk and talk, it of course went over time. He told his heart attack bit again. He talked about a Harley Quinn and that naming, and even the other hosts, who actually a lot of DC fans tuned out of DC Daily's stream as soon as Hector Navarro came on, because he is a host on Geek and Sundry, and he's notoriously against DCEU films and a huge Marvel sheep. So they said, why would you allow someone who hates DC on the DC universe hosting DC Daily? And that's when a bunch of people were like, yep, I'm tuned out. Some people put up the gif of Thanos like hitting the what do you snap his fingers and people disappearing, or I Love Genie. Is I Love Genie? Yeah.
I Dream of Genie.
Like disappearing on top of that. And I looked into his tweets and I'm like, yeah, he's kind of a schmuck. He kind of sucks. So that's one. And also Kevin Smith, like I said last week, he doesn't like the DCEU. So I don't know. I think the hosts are questionable for sure. But I did like seeing that the DC verified YouTube channels, especially friend of the show History of the Batman, was highlighted on there. And I once again question, why aren't Papa Kelly and I, putting aside the cussing, the funny, inappropriate jokes and all of that, putting all that aside, why aren't we DC verified fans? What's going on?
That's probably why we're not DC verified fans.
Just put a disclaimer up, 18 or over. You can appeal to all markets.
Okay.
Adults only.
Uh-huh.
So if they can have fuck Batman, they can have the reasons I'm broke.
There's one called Fuck Batman?
That's what Robin says in Titans, remember? That was the big controversy.
Oh, yeah. Fuck Batman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. We should be DC verified hosts. We should be on DC Daily.
It would be us plugging the podcast, mainly.
Oh, another reason for me to be broke.
Hector, I see here that you tweeted out that you don't like the DCEU. Daniel, that's not on script. I'm like, hold on, we're gonna get to the bottom of this and please the true fans.
Have they said how long these DC Daily episodes are supposed to be? Are they like a full 30 minutes?
If they did, I missed it. I don't know how long. I'm thinking they're gonna be like little 10-minute segments. That's how I would do it.
That would be smart.
If you're expecting people to tune into this every day, you don't make them 30 to 40 minutes. They're going to prefer to watch a movie or a TV show instead. Right. Do a little 10-minute thing. Good.
I would even say shorter than that. Make it like 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 at tops. Show, hey, this is this cool thing that we're highlighting. Put a little bit in there and go with it.
In spite of how you felt about the live stream, I'm glad we got lots of information about the debuts, when it actually releases, the contest on winning the Batman tour over in California.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. The Aquaman debut, what do they call it? The premiere, the winner was on there. So I'll see you at the premiere as well. Congratulations, winner. I will be happy to sign one item. I don't have time for, 15 items. I'll sign one thing and then we'll move on. As we're moving on from this story, also, Warner Brothers has a new movie in development, and this is according to Deadline. Get this, Coyote versus Acme. And this is a movie in which Wile E. Coyote from Looney Tunes goes after the manufacturer for his equipment. As you know, in those old cartoons, it's always fucking up. He never gets it to work right.
So this will be written by John and Josh Silberman, who were from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This would make Looney Tunes' third theatrical film following Space Jam and Looney Tunes Back in Action.
A little while back, they were developing, and we talked about it on the show like 5 years ago, the Speedy Gonzalez film. I guess that's not happening.
Aww.
But this looks hilarious. And I saw some of the angry comments like, there's nothing quite like Wile E. Coyote without the Roadrunner. You're right. They're not going to even have the Roadrunner at all. You're absolutely right. You've seen the movie clearly, so you know. Fucking dumb.
I am amazed that there's still a market for Looney Tunes.
There absolutely is.
Looney Tunes, I guess, was just never my thing.
Have you ever seen the Tweety tattoos? People get those as often as the goddamn Tinkerbell.
Oh my god.
Same with Taz.
I don't know. It's not for me.
They just put out some comics as well, like the next line of comics.
Okay, I get that. I understand that. But again, it's not for me. I never really enjoyed them. However, Wile E. Coyote used to be my dad's favorite cartoon.
It was definitely one of my favorites as well. I enjoyed those more than the Daffy Duck ones, the Bugs Bunny, even Speedy Gonzalez at some point, because you knew what the premise was going to be. You just want to see how Wile E. Coyote was going to fail. And I always loved that if he would cut off a cliff or something, like the cliff itself would fall and not the piece that the Roadrunner was falling in. So he was just defying physics all the time. When he would paint the tunnel and the Roadrunner would go through it, and he's like, what the fuck? And he would try to run through it and crash into the fucking stone. Goddamn Roadrunner.
Somebody posted on Facebook once, they're like, why do we never talk about his amazing realistic looking tunnels?
He's an artist. He's a genius.
It's just a true artist right there.
Did you ever see the race between Speedy Gonzalez and the Roadrunner?
No.
Do you know who wins?
No.
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah!
Because he ends up rocketing past both through the finish line trying to catch him.
Good for the Coyote.
Before we go into the What's New on Netflix and the Brocat Block, where we talk about Leo's update, people like to hear about that, there is a new book that I think Leo will especially enjoy, and parents especially. Friend of the show, Inside Editions, and Eric have sent this our way, and it is the announcement of the latest DC book project titled Batman Flash Projections.
Be sure to bring a flashlight because each page of the book will feature a cutout window with images of Batman, his rogues gallery, Gotham City, and more.
You'll read along as the book turns into a bat signal through projections of the story scenes on your nearest wall. So as you're turning the page, you kind of hold it a little bit horizontally, and the text is on there. And as you're reading, you put the flashlight underneath, and it'll project the clear image onto your wall, and you can kind of see, like, as you're reading it, the image that the page as you're reading is showing on there. So it's more interactive. It is a bat signal book. And when he sent this to me, I'm like, what a fucking brilliant idea.
Right?
This is genius.
I was reading this in the notes and I'm like, oh my God, why did we never think buy it now?
It's such a good idea for kids, especially. Mm-hmm. And in addition to these Batman scenes, there's going to be a blank page where readers can create and cut out their own projection to add on to the story.
How cool. This is a perfect like bedtime book because we always, with Leo, at the end of the night, right before bed, we sit in his room and it's nice and dark. And right now he doesn't want shit to do with books, so that's fine.
He does flip through them. He likes playing with them.
Yeah, and throws them. And so right now, no, not for him. But later, absolutely, this is something that we can get and enjoy with him right before bedtime.
So the author to Batman Flash Projections is Jake Black, who has written over 400 books, including Supergirl, Adventure Time, Star Trek, and more.
This book is set to release September 25th, 2018 at a price point of $16.99. Sounds very reasonably priced to me.
And it will be available as well to pre-order at your local comic shop, so you can let your LCS know that you want to pre-order Batman Flash Projections, and they will order it in for you.
If you say, guys, I don't have an LCS, there's not one close by, this book will also be available through many online retailers.
And since it is the first episode of the month, let's head into what's new on Netflix, the September 2019 highlights.
Remember, guys, these are just the highlights, what pertain to us, what we want to talk about. For the full list, you can go to Google, type in what's new on Netflix September 2019. You can read the full list there.
First edition on our list is Bruce Almighty.
I saw this a long time ago. People loved this movie when it came out.
I think I would classify this as the last Jim Carrey-ish movie, if that makes any sense, before he got into some of the more serious roles, and now he's doing painting, and he did Dumb and Dumber, whatever the sequel, the proper sequel to the first one was, and wasn't quite as big a hit. And I know he went through some dark times with his separation with his significant other, and I believe they had a couple of kids. So, but this Bruce Almighty, I think, again, is the last of those type of Ace Ventura movies, and I'm still a fan of the Cable Guy.
Right.
But it's good to see that if you want to, I guess, something more goofy, you have it on Netflix. And it also spun off from Steve Carell's Evan Almighty, which I heard was fucking terrible.
It was pretty bad. I saw it. He built a boat, and then there was a little flood. And that was it.
Was there a cameo at all by Jim Carrey?
I don't remember. I know Morgan Freeman played God in both of them.
All right, at least they got him.
Right. That's all I remember.
Another one hitting Netflix is Groundhog Day, which you still haven't seen, right?
Haven't seen it, no.
It is considered by many to be one of Bill Murray's best films.
Huh.
And I'm still a huge fan of Lost in Translation, but Groundhog Day is up there. And if you haven't seen it yet, you know the premise. It's just him reliving the same day over and over again. And it's kind of him coming to acceptance of, there's a message to it, and I won't spoil that for you, but it's a good one.
We also have Spider-Man 3. So this is Tobey Maguire.
Featuring Venom?
Yes, I'm Spider-Man.
I'm going to be playing this at the comic shop all the time.
So you can hear, I'm alive.
He's going to be dancing. There's like a little dance sequence in there.
Church bells.
There's a couple minutes of Venom, which is appropriate because who cares? How much more could you add?
Who cares?
Unless it's Tom Hardy, then more Venom, please. Also, Disney's Lilo and Stitch. I know people like that movie.
There's a huge following for this movie. I think now as an adult, as a mother, I appreciate this movie more because there's a lot of stuff in this movie of the sister protecting Nani, the sister protecting Lilo, that you don't catch as a child.
Is this, the only reason I bring it up because I'm like, they're both Hawaiian. Is this better than Menorah?
Moana is actually Polynesian, not Hawaiian. I was corrected very quickly last time
I'm a
I
racist,
said that.
though, I guess. Damn.
It's not at all related.
I thought, but my stunt double, Jason Momoa, is Polynesian, but he has the Hawaiian culture behind them. Where's that connection then?
Hell if I know.
All right, well, coming from a Mexican and a white, clearly we are out of our league here.
Clearly. We should try to watch Lilo and Stitch again. You know, there is a cross-dressing alien in that movie.
Yeah, we'll watch it, sure. I'll sit down and watch it. We'll watch that in Groundhog Day.
All right, perfect.
The Disney movie that I prefer more is The Emperor's New Groove.
That is such an underrated movie. People never remember The Emperor's New Groove.
And it's probably the last time we'll see it on Netflix before we get Disney Play next year. And that's the name of it, Disney Play.
New Groove is fucking hilarious. You didn't start watching it till we went on our cruise, right?
I'd seen it before then, but I never actually sat down and truly watched it.
Hilarious, right?
It's pretty good.
So funny.
That takes place in Peru, is it? Somewhere in South America?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's Peru. We also have Marvel's Black Panther Who Cares edition.
I know we have some listeners who enjoyed it. You can watch it again on Netflix if you don't already own it. Also, Marvel's Iron Fist Season 2. Same
The
deal.
season of Who Cares. We also have Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This is funny. So this is actually kind of the week that it released in theaters. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
So it popped up on Facebook on this day because I like to check what I was doing years ago every day on Facebook. And I had commented that the video game was better than the movie, and so you should just play the video game instead, or something like that. And so obviously we had just seen it in theaters.
That was a good fucking video game.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
that was
good
a lot
game.
of fun.
What a beat 'em up game, and it was co-op, and it told the whole story.
You know, it was also a fun video game.
Which one?
Castle Crashers?
Yeah, that was about the same era too.
We played that game for hours.
So fucking good.
And then remember we were fighting for the princesses, but then we just kept killing each other and we were dying laughing. I couldn't even breathe.
I know that's another one I'm going to play at the shop because it has a comic. We sell the book, qualifies. I'll
Castle
play
Crashers?
It. No, it should have a movie. Scott Pilgrim.
Oh.
Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, which is in your top 5 movies of all time.
I love this movie.
If you want to live through the Palpa Kelly, watch Pirates of the Caribbean 1.
Listen, guys, I can't even. I've been in love with Jack Sparrow for 15 years now. Did you know that movie came out in 2003? Forever.
I believe it.
15 years. I had the cardboard cut out. The poster is still at my parents'. So if you guys want an actual movie poster from Pirates of the Caribbean, like the double-sided one, I got it. And then, maybe it's not double-sided. I think it is double-sided. And then I had the pillowcase, too. I just recently found all my fan fiction at my parents' house from Pirates.
You got to read it on here for our Patreon
sickness.
backers.
I'm not going to read it because it was me and all my high school friends as pirates. And Jack Sparrow was there, too. I have a sickness, and I'm sorry.
Even when this released, I remember I was like, oh, Johnny Depp's fucking great. And people were saying, who? It's like Edward Scissorhands. Who? And then after the movie released, everyone, oh, Johnny Depp is the greatest. It's like, yeah, I fucking know. Jesus Christ. But that's also where it started that spiral of, oh, wait, he's going to keep playing the weirdo character forever. And that's now what he's typecast as forever. And
except in Unfortunate Beasts or whatever.
No, he was the fucking weirdo. He had the fucking David Bowie eyes and the fucking haircut thing.
Right, but he's just playing a bad guy.
He's not playing a bad guy. I'm like, that's Johnny Depp once again being a fucking weirdo. That was Colin Farrell playing the role. And then at the end, you see overweight Johnny Depp like, hello. And now he's going to be in the sequel. And I guarantee you he's going to have something fucking weird.
All right, fine.
He's yes,
that is where it started. And then they gave us too much Jack Sparrow and all the rest of the movies and just oversaturated us. It was better when we knew little about him.
It's going to have eyeshadow.
Yeah,
it's going to have tattoos.
And you know what? He's making money, so who cares? Let him make his money.
Remember that whole thing about like that video of him like drunkenly throwing shit around and then his ex-wife came out like he beat the shit out of me. There was that period where he did not get roles because of that.
Wasn't his ex-wife fucking Mara from Aquaman?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Amber,
I'm
what's
not
her
sure.
name?
Amber Heard?
Yeah, something like that. I'm pretty sure that that's his ex-wife because we were talking about her one day at work and somebody's like, I don't like her because of what she did to Johnny Depp. And I'm like, what?
Or what Johnny Depp did to her? I don't
Whatever.
know. We don't know.
Listen, we're talking about
It's
Jack
2018.
Sparrow. We're talking about the
He's
curse
a pirate.
the curse of the Black Pearl,
They get drunk
which
and
is
do
still one of my favorite movies.
Very good. Yeah,
Oh.
I like the first one a lot. I love Barbosa. He is amazing.
Mhm.
And the rest of the characters just kind of serve that story, including Jack Sparrow, who, as you mentioned, he was so successful worldwide because he was a supporting character.
He was great. Ugh, can we watch that movie now?
I still love yeah, we'll definitely watch it, but I love the idea of why bring back Barbosa. Like, I know I loved him, but there was no reason for him to return.
But he was the best part of like the last movie.
I agree.
When
I
he
100%
was like,
agree.
goodbye, daughter. And I was like, ah.
But you know, when they brought him back in Pirates 2, they weren't saying, well, because in like 15 years, we'll have this one scene in the waterfall.
Can I tell you what happened? I know I've talked about this on the show before. When he came back at the end of Pirates 2,
Yes.
the entire theater went, no, Brad.
Like he's
It
the
was
new
great.
villain or something.
Yeah,
What the hell's
and
going
it
on?
was great. Like they were still, they hated it, but they were still so excited because Tia Dalma was fucking weird, turning into giant crabs or whatever.
Wasn't that the third one? That
Yeah,
she turns into
but like the second and the third kind of went together.
They did.
And then the fourth was the mermaid one, right? And then the fifth was the Fountain of Youth.
When they kind
and
of
then-
ignored the mermaid thing.
Yes, and then the sixth was the most recent one.
No. I thought the fifth was the most recent one. The fourth was with the mermaids. And then they were like, and they ignored those characters, the priest and the mermaid, because they lived in the end. And they were supposed to be the new
People.
Elizabeth and Will Turner. And that didn't work out.
Wait, so the
new
mermaid
one,
and the
priest.
but the mermaids and the Fountain of Youth were in the same movie?
yes. Those were the
Oh.
same movie.
Oh.
And then they kind of shelved it for a little bit, and then they did the recent one,
Mhm.
and they brought back Jeffrey Rush appropriately again. He was in that mermaid one too, but at the end of it, he became a pirate. Like, that's his heart.
Right.
And in the new one, it's like, oh shit, we're gonna end his story on a fucking high note.
Ugh.
So it's like, do I have a reason to watch the Pirates 6 or whatever it is at this point?
Is there another Pirates
5?
coming out?
They said they were gonna do another one after this, yes. And it even ended on Will Turner and Elizabeth coming back, and that's supposed to be the next movie.
Can we just go back and watch the first one and pretend that's all there is? Because that's all I need.
Are you going to watch the next one?
Of course I would, but the first one it's like a perfect movie. It's just perfect.
Like a perfect circle?
Like you don't
like a pearl?
You don't like a darkish colored pearl. You don't
onyx colored,
You
if you
don't
will.
need any more than that. Like it had just enough mystery and magic, and then we got into this like whole fucking other I don't even know too much bullshit. Except we did have that scene with the guy like it's blowing up around him, and he's like no.
The most dramatic death of all time.
And then we got Elizabeth, who high school me hated because she was just kissing all these men.
Did she kill Jack Sparrow?
Yeah, she did. I was not about that life. And then they had to go like in the underworld to get him back. I'm like, this is a fucking comic. What? No. Let's just stick with the first one. I'm gonna pretend. I still like. I'm so flustered just thinking about this movie. That's how much I like it. Ugh, it's horrible.
Let me ask you something, because you may know. Was Kingdom of Hearts 2, that's the one with Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
I don't know what that game is, but Kingdom Hearts 2 did have Pirates of the Caribbean.
Was that rated T or E10?
Probably T.
Okay, because I want to know, they ended up censoring, and I remember this, they censored the scene where Will Turner he's saying, or I die, or whatever the fuck his fucking line is.
Right.
And he puts the gun up to his neck as if like, okay, the curse is going to live on if I kill myself. And it's like, well, kill yourself. We'll dig your body up and we'll take your blood and we'll dump it in the fucking thing. But obviously it's a Disney movie, so that wasn't going to happen. So I was curious as to why it was good enough for Pirates of the Caribbean, the film, and not good enough for the video game, which I'm assuming was rated T.
It's E10.
Okay, well, that answers my question right there.
There you go.
Never mind.
I Googled this shit and found it out. I don't know. I didn't really see it as a big deal in the movie either, but I can see why people are like,
Speaking of Kingdom of Hearts, going down a rabbit trail, as per Paul Kelli.
Thank you.
Brian Schaub and I were talking about Kingdom of Hearts 3, and he said me trying to live long enough to play Kingdom of Hearts 3, and it has a picture of a cryogenic, like it has a guy in a freezer, like at a supermarket, which was hilarious. And then I said, realistically, the atoms that make up the cryogenic freezer will probably break down
before
that fucking game comes out.
Oh my God. That is not inaccurate. Like, we're gonna drop Leo off at his high school graduation and then go home to play this game because it just released.
Not even then. Thousands of years from now. Many generations down the line.
Okay, I give it another 2 years and for sure it'll be here. Calm down.
The joke has to continue.
Even when it's released, you're like, this probably isn't the
this
final.
This isn't the full version, guys.
No?
This is a preview.
We're going to have a 3.2.
Oh, and we will. Absolutely we will.
And you know what? We're going to buy it. So what's it matter?
Yeah, but then I'm right still. Like, I wouldn't be wrong. So with that all out of the way, all of the joking and the rabbit trails, let's go into what happened this week. Our Brocat block. What's going on in our lives? Big one right now. Leonardo took his first 3 independent steps.
He did. We both got to be witness to it. He actually took his steps towards you. So how was that feeling?
It was pretty cool. I felt like, all right, I'm cool enough for this little baby to decide I'm going to change my mode of transportation for a couple of seconds so I can reach this bearded, long-haired man that looks like an older version of me, but slightly darker.
I'm sure that's exactly what was going through his mind,
He's
and not Dad.
Again, he's my son. He thought more than just
of course,
an average child.
I'm sorry, you're
right. Is our son not a genius?
He is pretty much a genius. Right. He is. He's learned how to get off the couch in the bed. I don't know if I mentioned that last week.
Yeah, you did.
But that's still going on. He's a cranky ass.
His other teeth are also growing in, so we're going back to cranky Leo. But he did have a poop earlier, and that seemed to have alleviated some of that pain, apparently.
Well, I mean, if you were holding on to that poop, you'd be pretty cranky too. So,
like all said and done, how many has he really had? Not many. Compared to how many hopefully he'll have throughout his lifetime. So he's still not used to this fucking pressure near my asshole. Like, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, but he can just let it out. Like, he doesn't have to hold it in. So he needs to enjoy that right now.
Man, this fucking Brocat block got nasty. What else? All right.
He's rapidly approaching his first birthday. That's pretty significant for me because now I'm sitting here like, where did the fucking last year go? Because it's gone and here we are again. In my life, I lost 3 pounds.
There you go.
That's pretty significant just by changing what I eat and not eating every piece of fried food that I can find. And Starbucks every day. Pumpkin spice is out.
Yeah. Tell the fucking story. Tell the story.
Do you want me to start from the very beginning or just our moments?
There's a very beginning?
Well, how I even got that cup.
Fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, no. Tell the moment first and then the background.
So Daniel and I are sitting on the couch. It's 8:30 in the morning. Leo's running around.
Because we have a baby now.
Because we have a baby.
We're no longer asleep till noon.
People who work 9 to 5 are like, 8's nothing. What's wrong with you? So Leo's crawling around and we're sitting on the couch and Daniel's going through his phone and he goes, "Did you know pumpkin spice is out at Starbucks?" And I reach behind the couch and pull out this venti Starbucks cup and show him the label, which clearly reads pumpkin spice. And he was blown away.
I was like, well, damn. And you had no words. You just showed it to me here.
Yeah, right.
Look.
Here it is.
Look at this shit.
So what had happened was it came out the day before, August, whatever it released. And so I was on my way home from work and I was like, I need this pumpkin spice. It's the first day. So I pulled in and picked up my pumpkin spice. But of course I got a pumpkin spice latte, which of course has espresso. And I was trying to go to bed early. So I just put it in the fridge until the next morning. I drank a couple sips and then I put it in the fridge. So that's what I was drinking as my morning coffee rather than brew another one was my pumpkin spice. And it was perfect. It was a perfect moment for me because I could go boom. And then you just thought your wife was even more amazing than she already is.
It was pretty crazy because I'm like, of course she has it already. Of course she's drank it.
It's, I did get this is my coffee spiel. I did get the blonde pumpkin spice though instead of the regular pumpkin spice latte. And the difference between the blonde and the regular espresso, if nobody knows, is the beans are roasted lighter, so they don't have as much of a coffee flavor, right? It's a very subtle. You've had it. You see how subtle it is. Mm-hmm. Do you see that, or are you just like, yeah,
it all tastes the same.
The same.
It's the
okay.
fucking shit.
So you don't have much of a coffee aftertaste. So the pumpkin spice latte with blonde just kind of tastes like the pumpkin syrup rather than a pumpkin coffee. So I don't think I'll be getting it blonde again. I prefer my blonde with vanilla lattes. So that's the moral of my story. Don't get blonde pumpkin spice lattes.
And that was the whitest portion of the podcast's history ever in the world. That
is like the coolest because I'm nerding out over lattes. I can nerd out over beer stuff. You want me to talk about beer?
Can you nerd out over anything other than nerd things?
Yeah, you can nerd out over food.
Coffee's not a nerd thing.
Coffee's a total nerd thing.
It is not.
If I am talking about the roasting of beans and the flavor profile of different coffees, is that not nerding out?
That's not geeking or nerding out. No, you're just a connoisseur.
Okay, well, I'm connoisseuring out.
There you go. You're connoisseuring out.
Stop, that doesn't even sound right.
We'll leave this to the Brokehead Core. Let us know.
Okay. All right, am I connoisseuring or am I nerding out?
Is she a Connoissaurus Rex or is she nerding out? Let us know. Connoissaurus Rex or nerding out? And we'll leave it at that.
I'm nerding out. Who is the emperor?
Tweet in.
Who is the emperor? Oh, speaking of which, I'm up to 83 followers.
It's almost fucking... We're in September now. Like, we're recording in August. Like, there's a day or two left. But we didn't hit 100.
A day. 1 day left.
Like, did not hit 100. What's going on, Brokehead Core? What is happening?
They're like, she doesn't fucking say anything.
She doesn't fucking tweet. That's right.
You know what? Because I'm busy raising our child.
Do your coffee thingy update. Coffee with Kelli.
No, it's called What's Brewing with Kelli.
What's brewing?
You don't even read my tweets, so why am I tweeting?
I do. I get a notification every time you tweet. Is it brewing or brewing?
Brewing, because you brew coffee. What's brewing with Kelli? I've started drinking flax milk in my coffee. That's what's brewing with me.
Anything else before we go into our thank yous for the show?
What's happened with your week? You've only listened about me and our son.
For me, overall, it's been a pretty average type of week. I got to hang out with some friends, including Maceo, Treasure Hunting Sonic, Kyle Inge, which I consider myself now a cryptozoologist because I'm like, I witnessed the Kyle Inge. Like, I have stories to tell. And scientists can be like, no, you did not see Kyle.
Because that's how scientists would tell you that.
They would.
No.
That's how cryptozoologists
I know
are
you are, but what am I?
So that was a lot of fun. We got to hang out at World of Beer. That happened. And I've been keeping a close eye. I know that the competition, as we mentioned before, is as tougher as ever for this year's podcast awards. But I can't help, and I don't know how you feel, I can't help but get a little bit hopeful and excited of like, maybe we will win the 2018 podcast awards. Maybe like Polygon and the rest will get less votes than the Reasons I'm Broke podcast. I don't know. It's possible.
It's good to dream.
We're also having one of our best months ever in the podcast's history. Like a week ago, we surpassed 2018 as our best month in the year. But now we're creeping up on like the top 4 months of the podcast's history.
That's
in
amazing.
Downloads. And that's it. That's all to thank our regular weekly listeners for tuning in, staying subscribed, for helping spread the word about the show, telling your friends about the podcast, for our amazing guests that we have had. We had that string of guests. And I even had mates who are like, who's your guest this week? And I'm like, man, these guys got spoiled on this.
Kelli is your guest
That's
this week.
Right. Papa Kelly's your guest this week. But you're also a host and also an emperor and also insert everything here.
I have a very busy life, so
a connoisseur
you're
Rex.
welcome.
Connoisseur Rex.
Just leave the names to me, honey. It's okay.
All of that has helped in the downloads, in the numbers, and now I'm very curious to see where we end up sitting overall with that. So that's what I've been keeping a close eye on. And the podcast awards, of course, we've been getting tons of downloads on there too, including several people that have gone back and downloaded all 300 plus episodes.
Good luck.
Which helps spike the numbers on top of that. So I don't know. I don't think it'll be our best month ever in the podcast's history. I don't foresee that, especially with how the last couple of days have been as far as the rate. But it is definitely it's going to hit our top 4, I'm pretty sure, in the podcast's history. So that has got me hopeful. It feels like there's some momentum behind the show with the guests and everything else. And then now I'm like, again, I can't help but fantasize like maybe we'll win this year. I don't know. If not, I know our Brocat core will come through maybe next year. If the competition's even tougher next year, I have no doubt that we'll still get there for at least a nomination.
I did have something else that happened this week that I forgot about. I'm going to throw out real quick. I got to go on a team outing with my team from work, and we went to adult laser tag. And if you guys have a team that you're able to go on an outing with or just friends, adult laser tag is the shit.
What's the difference? What makes it adult? Are there like neon nudie pictures or what's going on happening?
No. So you have real life scenarios. So like one room was a warehouse, one room was an office, right? And then your laser guns are actual guns.
Giant dicks.
No, they're actual guns that work like guns. So you have to reload them. Like if you have the pistol, it doesn't shoot as far, but you get more shots. If you have the fucking shotgun, it only shoots off one, but it sprays, so you can hit multiple people, but you have to reload after every single one, and it takes X amount of seconds and all this kind of stuff. It was hilarious. I was sore for 5 days. Because you're all just like running around in the dark.
You're not supposed to run in laser tag.
I ran in laser tag.
Everyone runs.
Okay, of course we all run. And we're running around in the dark, and friendly fire is okay. So you're on teams, but they're still, just like in real life, if you shoot your partner. So you'll be running, and then like you'll shoot somebody, and they're like, I'm on your team. And then you're like, oh shit, sorry. And then like you keep running away. We had 2 hours in this place, and it was just so, like, we were dying laughing. It was hilarious.
Where's this at? Is it out near Orlando? Or?
So it's in Point Orlando. We've been there before near the convention center. So it's over there. It's called Hard Knocks. And I had heard about it before, and I'm like, that's lame. And then I went there, and I was like, oh, shit.
Adult laser. It should have been called Hard Knockers and just giant tits, neon.
Well, everything is, like, they have their instructional videos. It's all women. Only women work there.
Giant tits?
Yeah, of course. And like tiny little shorts. The vests that you put on and the guns that you pick, they're all named so you can find the right one. And they're all named after women. So, yeah, there you go. But it was a lot of fun. Take your teams. Fun, yeah. It was so much fun. When your friends come down from Chicago, you guys should go do this and just run around and laugh at each other.
Sounds good.
And Riggs could be like, no.
I'd be on Riggs' team though.
I know you would.
I'm like, Riggs! I'd hold him. It's like he's not really.
You would carry him over your shoulder, like.
It'd be like the Forrest Gump, like just the field exploding behind me as I'm carrying him, and he's telling me about shrimp. He's telling me about hot dogs though. He loves hot dogs. Let's head into our thank yous for the week with our Patreon shout outs for this episode.
Our first shout out goes out to Alexander, whose Twitter handle is @swordfishshow. You can also go to purpleswordfish.com.
I was going to say retweet you. I got Twitter on my fucking head. It'll redirect you to his YouTube channel. And that's also where you will find his regular Let's Plays, his latest ones, especially with the new Madden World of Warcraft, and his podcast, Dead Channel Duo, recently got added onto Spotify,
Woo-hoo!
Which is quickly growing to be, it is already, the number 2 spot for podcast consumption, right behind, of course, Apple Podcasts. So congratulations, Alex and Andy, on your Dead Channel Duo podcast, which is a video game and sports-centric podcast. Very, very good. Definitely check it out.
Our next shout-out goes to Lourdes and Katie.
Katie wasn't thrilled with the tease story of Damian Wayne possibly being Deathstroke's son in the recent comics. She pretty much summarized it with it didn't really lead anywhere, but it was the excuse for Batman and Deathstroke to fight. And it also appeased the Slade Wilson fans.
So was Deathstroke like, he's my son?
In the story, he gets the report in the first issue that Damian might be Deathstroke's son, and Batman is going to investigate, and he wants answers. So he confronts Deathstroke about it, and Slade's like, I don't know anything about it, and honestly, I don't care, because I get reports all the time of women telling me that I'm the father of all these kids, and I probably am, but I don't care. I'm an assassin.
Why didn't Batman just get some of Damian's blood and do a blood test?
I'm sure it was answered in the comic. I did not read it.
Oh, okay. All right.
But again, it's an excuse for them to fight. Katie can tell us.
Okay. Next up, we have Bobby, whose Twitter handle is @CubanSlim.
Bobby's been retweeting results from Pokemon Worlds, so that recently happened with the TCG and the VGC. So if you want to see who won, highlight videos, full videos, head on over to Bobby's Twitter @QBANSLIM.
We also have Neil, whose Twitter handle is @InMats68.
For speaking of TCG, he recently put up Pokemon TCG codes.
Cool.
So if you want to get some free cards for Pokemon TCG online, head on over to Neil's Twitter @NMats68.
I want those codes for the cards that I don't play.
Just redeem them.
I just want to
let
watch.
them sit there.
I just want to watch the world burn.
Last shout out this week goes out to John on Twitter @John72Tex and on Instagram @Johnny2Chips.
He's been putting up Silver Age CGC Batman issues from his collection.
They are beauties. This man has a collection. Puts mine to shame for sure. Very nice collection, John.
So thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for tuning in every single week. If you too would like to be a Patreon backer for as little as $1 a month, it's 25 cents an episode. Just go to patreon.com/thereasonsimbroke and you can have your shout out every month as well.
You will find a link to Patreon on today's episode. Huge thanks to DecalAvenue.com, who has been doing an amazing job sending out the Thanos Glove decal for this month as voted by the Brocat Core. And if you want to interact with the rest of the members, head on over to our Discord lounge. You will find the link in today's show notes as well, and you can interact with the rest of the Brocat Core members and join our Discord room, server, whatever you kids call it. But with all of that out of the way, let's head into our Comic Century part of the podcast, our comic book highlight for the week.
This week we have a one-shot for you. It's Lex Luthor Porky Pig #1.
This is written by Mark Russell. The whole reason I bought this, because it is written by Flintstones writer and Exit Stage Left Snagglepuss writer Mark Russell. Also a writer on the backup story was Jim Fanning. Art by Brad Walker and John Loder. And colors by Andrew Dahlhaus and Paul J. Lopez.
I do not feel that I was the audience for this book.
Who do you think the audience is? Let the Brocat Core know. It might be them.
I think that the audience was those who really enjoy Snagglepuss.
Exit Stage Left,
Yes.
all right.
It is a very political comic, so it speaks a lot to situations that are happening today in the United States. Things that people, I feel, generally ignore that are going on. And I mean, it even points it out. There's a situation that happens and everybody just says, okay, yeah, I guess this is a solution, and they ignore it and they move on. And that does happen a lot. So it was difficult for me to read in the sense that it was so political. However, I thought it was written well. It told the story well. And Porky Pig looked scary as hell.
On the fucking cover.
Yes.
Not in the book, though.
No, not in the book. He looked fine in the book. But I thought that it tied Lex Luthor and Porky Pig together very well and gave the two characters a reason to interact. Because when I first saw this, I'm like, how are they going to interact? They couldn't be farther from each other, but they really brought it together nicely.
Yeah, it is in line with the rest of the DC Looney Tunes books, much like Tom King's, which is the most famous of these crossovers, happened about a year and a half ago. He won an Eisner Award for it as well, and they've kind of continued them and continued not necessarily the absurdity of it, but the type of story that they want to tell with this, the challenge, I think, of how can you connect these two together, keeping the essence of the character, but still telling the story you want to tell. And this is very much Russell's story, that his observations of what's been happening in the last 2 years in society. And a heads up, it is a left-leaning book. absolutely a very, from the liberal standpoint of a lot of these issues. And even then, I mean, I would say that because it can be, I read it as a negative of like, oh, and people are now carrying guns into work. And it's like, that's where that, but at the same time, it's like, this is also happening though.
Right.
So it is telling like, yeah, these things are happening. And however you feel about them, the book obviously feels it's a negative, but these are still things that have occurred and are occurring. And because of that, the Porky Pig character is more or less the, I think we relate to him the most because yes, he's doing wrong things, but he's trying to do good while fitting into the system that he has been placed in. But then the whole summary of the story is it's a corrupt system. There's a lot of self-serving, a lot of loopholes that happen in our government, in the businesses that, for example, the whole drug of, we have this magic drug that might help AIDS, that might help cancer. We're going to quadruple the price. Like that whole thing is in there, and how that solution is still not a good solution because they're still helping themselves by finding this loophole. So all of that is in this little Lex Luthor Porky Pig story that was amazing to read. I really liked it. And I read the Daffy Duck Joker one. This was, which is like, okay, that's fun and it's all about the characters, but this is a deeper meaning. There's more to digest. There's actually something there to this other than just a little crossover.
Definitely everything that you just said. I think we both recommend it. Again, it is very political, so if you're looking for something that's just fun and a good time and a laugh, you're not going to get that. But if you have been reading, like I said, Exit Stage Left, I think this is something that you would enjoy.
The Flintstones, Exit Stage Left, this is definitely for you. If you want something more like, I guess, like you said, more fun than the Harley Quinn Gossamer one is that. The Joker Daffy Duck one is very much like just the Batman universe and what if Daffy Duck were in it. But if you want something heavier, this is definitely it. So loved it. I enjoyed it. And I definitely do recommend it, regardless of your political spectrum. I felt like it was a good story on how things work in Lex Luthor's world and also in today's, political climate.
And that is it for our show today. We covered a whole lot of things, but of course, there's always more to be said if you find us on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke, at Kelli.
If you got this far and you are a Podcast Awards voter, thank you so much, and we hope you consider voting for us in the Games and Hobbies portion of the Podcast Awards for 2018. We will definitely know who the winners are actually on Batman Day, which is September 15th. So you're going to have Batman Day, you're going to have the DC Universe streaming app, and you're going to have the Podcast Awards. So whether or not we win, we will forever be, thanks to the Brokehead Core, the 2017 and 2018 back-to-back years Podcast Awards nominees on the Games and Hobbies. Thank you so much. We hope we are still bringing you the show that you enjoy, more importantly, not just making it so that maybe we'll get nominated next year. No, this is for the Brokehead Core. This is for you guys. This is for the people that are there every single week. Not for the people that tweet us and want to be on the show or the people that maybe think we cuss a little bit too much. This is for those that are there every week that discovered us today and think maybe I'll tune in next week too. This is for you, and thank you so much for subscribing and for listening to the show.
I'm Kelli.
I'm Darth V. Daniel.
And Brokettes, all will be well.